And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship live from the Sportic Arena here in Katowice, Poland. My name is Quickshot. We are now joined by Crepo and, of course, the lovely Froggen once again. Welcome back to the desk. We're about to get underway with the second semi-final of the day. Before we start that, though, let's pull that bracket up on your screen and remind everybody how this playoffs has played out thus far. Fnatic just ended their best of 3, 2-1 against the Americans of Cloud9, and right now, KT rolls to Bullets will be taking on Gambit. A resurgent Gambit, I think I'll say, considering they came into today needing to win 2 games back-to-back, and they did. So let's start talking about these teams, about this series. Crepo, what's your take on how this is going to play out?
Gambit had impressive comebacks, but the fact that I still needed a comeback is worrisome. As much as I'd like to see a European final to prove who's finally supreme. Not that it completely matters because it's irrelevant in the grand scheme of things and we shouldn't be talking any against you anyways. But on point, Gambit looked a little shaky, but they bounced back really well. Coming back from that loss they had earlier with their pincer-style movement coming in from the sides, going in and out, typical Gambit-esque playstyle, it was nice to see. Will it confuse KDB enough? Actually, I don't think so. So I'm a little worried.
Gambit might be in trouble because we know KTB, they have really solid laning phase. That's where Gambit has been struggling. And if you get behind versus a team like KTB that has awesome mid-game rotations, then I think they will struggle a lot. And we saw in the first games, they actually relied a lot on Genja carrying, especially the first match. So we will see how it plays out. But
yeah, a lot of pressure on the individual members of Gambit. They have fallen behind in every single one of the games, but they've fallen behind less drastically as each game has played out. I do want to highlight somebody from KTB, though, is Ryu. He's come into this, the mid laner, and he had some very strong words leading up to the tournament saying that he was frustrated at the number of people that were underestimating KT Rolls to Bullets. We ourselves were saying we didn't really know what to expect of them coming in. They sort of got, picked apart in Masters, and everybody was saying they're in a bit of a slump. But they performed very, very well yesterday. They got themselves a 2-0. Little bit of a struggle against IG. I mean, let's be very honest. But they stalled out long enough to control the Chinese and pick up a win against against Invictus Gaming yesterday. So how do we, rate KTB considering we haven't seen them today?
As always in international tournaments, it's very hard to compare teams against each other when even the respective regions aren't facing each other anymore. Yeah, they were underperforming in Korea. Time has passed. They may be back to their original level. We don't know. Then again, we can't really compare how far ahead of everybody else is Korea right now or China. We have no idea of these respective regions. So yeah, we knew KD Bullets weren't the team they used to be and weren't as strong in their respective region. So yeah, people will obviously tell that as a story. Does that mean we're underestimating them? I don't think anybody with serious analysis was going to say KD Bullets are looking weak. I mean, they'll lose the game. Yeah. That won't happen. However, they didn't prove to be unbeatable. They definitely didn't play perfect. Nor did Gambit, though. Definitely not. Gambit's on the upward spiral. KDB probably analyzing their mistakes as well. So it's very hard to judge who's going to come out on top in this matchup.
I agree. The KTB, they look to struggle against really aggressive early game teams. Like they were struggling a lot against the Yasu that just... He was playing balls deep. Like, he doesn't care. He just goes all the time he can. Gambit is not such an aggressive team anymore. Except for Genja. And Darian. Don't forget Darian. But they don't play as aggressive as they did in the past, and I think they need to bring it back.
Well, we'll see if they can. Let's actually bring up some of those team sheets for you guys at home, just to remind you of who is playing. For this particular matchup, it will be KT Rolls to Bullets on the blue side for game 1, meaning, of course, Leopard, Insect, Ryu, Score, and Muffa will be taking to the blue side of the rift. Over on the red side, in their home colors, it will be Gambit Gaming. Darian up top, Diamond, Alex, Genja, and Edward to round out that team. Now, Gambit come into this matchup, as we've already said, they played 2 games today. They've just sat back and watched Fnatic versus Cloud9, and now they have to come into this game. Knowing that KTB have had a couple extra hours maybe to... You can't even say they can rest because they had to watch Gambit's games and prepare. How much can you learn and change your picks and bans in, let's say, a 3-hour window, which is what it took to finish the first semi-final?
So I think you can change a lot. Like right now, they know what has been working for Gambit, what has not been working for Gambit. Ban or pick the champions away that has been working really well. And I think that's a legit strategy KT Bullets can actually go into the tournament with, despite Gambit having a large champion pool on every single member of the team.
Yeah, I agree with Froggen here. Recent comfort picks definitely have to be considered or targeted, one of both, and just be aware that they exist. There's ups and downs of playing before. Now, Gambit won twice already today. You said that. They gave away information, but they still won twice today, so they have momentum. At the same time, KDB, I believe, is coming in cold, so they just... Yeah, they're cold, but they have a lot of time to prepare. They looked at the matches, sure, they have their preparations met, but Gambit generally doesn't care what you ban or pick. They will always find a way in this draw phase to find something they like playing with. I wouldn't think any team has a distinct advantage due to the fact that Gambit played. I would just want them to ban out Evelyn, and I think that's what they're going to do anyways.
And let's also be very, very honest. The sixth man on the side of Gambit Gaming is the Spodek Arena. This crowd goes absolutely bananas when Gambit does anything. Now, the stage is ready. We're about to introduce the teams. Before we do that, I just want to run through a couple quick things. First of all, is the poll. You guys at home have been voting for who you believe is going to win this matchup, and it is sitting 76% in favor of Gambit. Once again, the home team wins out. The one thing I do want to remind you guys, though, is if you are sitting watching at home, head over to eslgaming.com, click on the Katowice live post at the top of the page, and start voting for who you feel is going to be the MVP. There are 6 potential players to pick from. For the KT Bullets, it is Ryu. For Cloud9, we've highlighted High and Balls. Sitting on the side of Gambit, it's going to be Genja. And of course, for Fnatic, we're talking about Cyanide and Reckless. Go count those votes. We will be announcing who your MVP is for the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship tomorrow at the end of the finals. Now, though, we do want to say hello to both of the teams in our second semi-final. So, Shocks, please do introduce KT Rolls to Bullets and Gambit Gaming.
Thank you very much. It is indeed time to meet the teams here. First up, on the blue side, they were absolutely on fire yesterday. Give it up for the KT Rolster Bullets. And on the red side, they weren't quite on fire yesterday, but what a run they've had here today so far. You know who it is. It's Gambit. What a matchup here for our second semifinal of the day. It is about time to get things started. Casters, take it away.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Joined once again here by Demon, and this time Deficio. We're going to go straight into predictions for this one, Deficio. We saw Gambit yesterday. They got trodden all over by TPA. The question is that second day form that they've already shown today enough to take down the KT Bullets?
It's definitely giving them some confidence, much needed confidence, instead of the morale after the loss yesterday. Didn't look good for Gambit at all, but today, coming into this game, if they can manage to survive the laning phase, in my opinion, against KT Bullets, they will be able to beat them in team fights, and that should be the thing Gambit should be looking for.
And this is a stage that Gambit have beaten career opposition of before. They are just heading off the stage, so we're going to have a bit of a delay here. You can see Alex and Edward both going off in towards the VIP area right there at the moment, so I guess they're going to be just a few moments. Do It Sandstorm still being requested. We tried to get Crepo going earlier.
Can you sing it, Deficio?
No, I only know Danish Christmas songs.
You can sing that for us if you like.
They are slightly strange. I'll give you that one, that's for sure.
One day you guys will learn them and you will sing them every Christmas in the future.
Not sure about that.
I think you will.
I think I'll stick with normal Jingle Bells. It's Danish Jingle Bells. This doesn't quite ring it out for me.
No, it's a strange one. As you've just seen that, both Alex and Edward just headed off for a quick toilet break. So Groove just sitting down there, just trying to remember his times as a former Counter-Strike professional and how it is to play in front of a big audience like this. His players got to go through it here. KT Bullets, who they looked quite unstoppable yesterday, I think is the right way to put it.
Well, to be honest, in their game against IG, I felt they were a little bit shaky. They actually fell behind and IG had the game in their hands. And then they went for Baron, they lost the fight. Then they went for the second Baron, they lost the fight again. And then they went for the third Baron and they lost the fight again. And then KT Bullets actually ended up winning the game. So, yes, they managed to make the comeback. That was very good play by them, but actually they fell behind early on. And again, if Gambit can punish the early game, if they can actually have some very strong early picks and make sure that Diamond is on point with his ganks, try and shut down someone like Insec, who's been very aggressive, but also actually sometimes forgetting to farm a little bit. If they can manage to shut him down early, it could be a no factor in the team fights.
And he was omnipresent in their early game today, and that's the area where Gambit have openly said, you know, we kind of struggle during the early game, and that's what happened against TPA. You know, they lost out on the early game, and TPA really pushed that advantage straight through for the win. What are the Bullets, are they going to be looking to take advantage of that early game? Is that a solid strategy in your opinion coming in towards a Gambit game?
Well, for me, they should obviously rely on the fact that they are very good laners, all of the players. So it means they can actually pick more late game focused, more teamfight focused champions. They don't have to necessarily go instantly for the lane bullies. But I would like them to pick something like a Renekton. I could see a Lulu pick, of course, for Rio in the mid lane. Very strong lane bullies, simply to punish Gambit early on. And it's definitely a strategy, and it will actually force Gambit in the first game to ban some of them away.
Oh, Groove. He's got the belt back, hasn't he? Korean teams are up against Gambit. The belt is back in hand. We'll see if it works out for them. It worked out so well last time around against Frost and Blaze. There's Gambit. Get in the huddle. It's worked for them this morning. So will it work for them against the KT Bullets? WE and TPA both swept aside by Gambit this morning.
We really need to have respect for Gambit. The way they're coming back into this tournament, everyone yesterday said Gambit, they look awful. They weren't on point. The bootcamp had done nothing for them. They just turned around here today, and they've been looking so good when it comes to the mid game. Every single time they had a chance to fight, they just won them. And we had, of course, Genja. He's been playing absolutely fantastic today, and his Varus play early on was just spot on for me.
I think I've figured it out. It's because they've got their old jerseys back on.
Could be, yeah.
They had the new tops on yesterday. Didn't work out for them so well. They've gone back to the old tops. Got confidence in these ones.
Why not? I mean,
every little helps for a player. Those mental edges, I tell you, they're actually real.
Well, don't change a winning formula, in my opinion. And we can see the huddle part of that one this morning. A bit of a chat going on.
I think they're talking about items.
Yeah.
Which weird items will we build today?
What do we think about bans and picks before we get to those then? Because you've seen that now Lucian you can take away from Genji, he'll just pull out Varus or other champions. Caitlyn, not really one that he likes to play, to be honest, and they're quite happy to ban that out if need be.
Well, actually, Lucian could be a possible ban because playing against Varus, it is easier to shut him down than these mobile AD carries, so it could be an option for KT Bullets. They've been banning away Evelynn in both their past games as well. Diamond procs on Evelynn is amazing, so it could be a potential ban for them. And of course, for Gambit side, they are red side in game 1. Lulu ban against Rio, something along the lines of Renekton ban. Don't want to risk going up against these very strong champions because again, Darien, he loves to play all these different kind of top laners, and Renekton will at least try and shut him down early. And we have actually seen how Darien sometimes give up a few kills in the laning phase, and it can be an issue if they really want to make sure they don't lose the early game.
What about an Aatrox ban from that one? We've seen a couple of teams going for that. Darien obviously feels pretty safe when he got his blood well. And he'll pick up a GA a little bit later on so that you have to kill him 3 times to actually get rid of him. Is that a realistic possibility for Bullets?
I actually think if Gambit bans out Renekton, then Bullets can respond and banning out Aatrox simply because it's not a champion you play against often, and also, as well, it's the champion for Darien. He loves to play it, and against pretty much everything except for the Renekton, he should be able to do okay early game. I'm not saying he's going to win the lane, but he will at least be able to do okay and shouldn't die the 5-10 times we normally see Darien die.
Well, in the pre-game chat, Alex Itch is asking everyone if they'd like a cup of tea. Good way to start off a game.
It was Insect that asked how he was, so that was what he was. That was his reply. And actually, Korean tea's not bad. There is the lovely glasses of Edward. They're seemingly working very well for him. And what is it, Duckworth? What was his name? Good old Corrie. Going back to an English soap there. Jack Duckworth. There you go.
Awesome.
Wow. Was not expecting. Well, that's going one step further than the people with the sign in front. They're just like, well, we've just been outdone. What can we write on our bellies?
Have you got anything on your belly, Deficio, today? For the semi-final?
Only your name. But that's normal for me, Joe, you know.
Okay.
This
great
is taking
stuff.
a turn for the worst.
Let's
what I
move
wanted
away
to talk
from it.
about was Gambit, because they have to walk on that intro past that trophy. The trophy their name is on in 2012, and they would love to have their name on it once again. And the KT Bullets are a very big hurdle in their way. They have played each other before, way back in MLG Dallas. It was an exhibition match back then, and there was a lot of travel involved for both teams, so I'm not too sure how much we can read into that result. But picks and bans are about to get underway, Deficio. Where do we expect this one to go?
Evelyn first ban.
Well, that's a surprise.
It's not really a surprise against Diamond, yeah. He's so good on this champion, and it's so annoying to deal with early on because of the stealth. You never know where he is unless you have wards in the enemy jungle to try and spot him out, or pink wards, of course, which can be cleared. So I like the first ban, and taking away the Fresh, I think it's okay.
Taking away the Thresh, which Edward obviously can't be bringing to the table. And he's not too bothered about that. I think he's quite happy with his Morgana, basically, because the Koreans just aren't really feeling the whole Morgana support.
Morgana has actually been working out really well for everyone this tournament. I think we only have one loss with her for Cloud9 in the last game against Fnatic. Otherwise, it's actually been working really well. And with the Aatrox ban, like we talked about, Darien, he loves to play Aatrox. The only thing, the thing that people normally shut him down with is Renekton, who, by the way, is still open. Could be a potential first pick for KT Bullets. But they don't want to deal with this Aatrox, so they don't know exactly what it's actually doing. And also, you don't want to give Darien his favorite champion.
And he was the final ban here for the KT Bullets as well. So a couple of supports out of it. We saw Lee Sin respect ban over towards Insec, even though Diamond could have had a go on that one. And Lulu banned out by Gambit.
At least open. Would it be the first pick? I mean, this is going to be down to Insec, of course. It's down to his personal preference. Evelyn worked out for him. Of course, everybody knows what Insec was like on Lee Sin. Diamond played it very well this morning, but at least if it was Europe, if it was North America, it would be insta-locked. But KTB may have other ideas.
And we have Kha'Zix as well, actually, as the jungle option. Cloud9 is loving
Insec played it in
played it as well.
quarterfinals.
Very aggressive early on. He can do a lot of damage when he actually gets onto people. And once you get to team fights, you have Last Whisper, Brutalizer. You do so much damage. You can get your reset. And it's just very hard to deal with because you can never actually go low in a team fight because then there's a chance he jumps onto you, kills you, gets the reset. And once a Kha'Zix gets rolling, it's very hard to stop him.
Now Kha'Zix does get through there, but that's left a couple of others open. LeBlanc for Alex Ich, and that Renekton pick that we were talking about going to go over to Darien.
So Darien will have the control in his lane. He's supposed now to win his lane with this Renekton. And of course, a jungler like Kha'Zix, very hard for him to actually gank him early on because you don't bring any hard CC and the damage you actually have is not enough to kill Renekton. And also there's obviously the risk of Diamond being there counter-ganking and then they will be able to kill Kha'Zix with someone like Renekton on Diamond's side. So I like this pickup and also the LeBlanc for Alex and making sure Rio isn't picking LeBlanc.
Caitlyn Karma being picked up here by the KT Bullets. Wasn't really expecting the Karma to come out.
Wasn't expecting it either. But actually, they seem to do it instead of picking Sivir. They go Caitlyn for lane dominance and also obviously scaling into late game. And then they have Karma bringing the AoE speed up that everyone can rely on. And Sivir for Genji, I don't think we've ever seen him play Sivir, so they're obviously not expecting him to pick it here. So they will have the utility advantage just by having Karma. And then they'll have a stronger lane and very poke-heavy lane by having the Caitlyn.
I'm pretty sure we're going to see Lucian coming out from Genji himself. The question is, what will Edward be running alongside it? Will it be that Morgana? Morgana alongside Lucian, it does work, but it's not as much poke as you'd like.
It's not the same amount of poke, of course, as Karma Caitlyn, but it can definitely work. And for team fights, only issue is the Black Shield actually doesn't provide too much against the Kha'Zix, against the Caitlyn. The only thing it can stop is the snare from Karma, and that's about it. So Black Shield wouldn't be ideal for him.
Well,
speaking of poke, going back to Varus from this one, we saw his piercing arrows picking up a double kill for him earlier on today, and Nocturne picked up for the jungle here for Diamond.
When was the last time we saw Diamond playing Nocturne?
Very long ago.
Yeah, I can't. There's nothing in my memory, and that goes back some distance, trust me.
So here's my idea with
it's
it.
pretty old.
Renekton, of course, will push his lane up to the turret. It's very easy for Nocturne to pop his ultimate and dive onto him, and you actually don't know where he's ganking, so it's very hard to counter-gang it from KT Bullet's side. And at the same time, when you have the likes of Varus, the likes of LeBlanc, and also with Nocturne's ultimate again, you can set up some picks where KT Bullets as a team, if they're not standing together, won't be able to react because you have the ultimate coming in from Varus, you obviously have the chain and all the burst from LeBlanc, and then you have the Nocturne ultimate making everything dark, so it's very hard for them to react. And I think that's what Gambit's idea is, to simply just catch out targets when they're out of position, and at the same time, the ganking potential of Nocturne at level 6 is very, very strong, so it's going to be risky for Kha'Zix to actually go in and gank, because Nocturne can counter gank it fairly easy.
And on the other side, we're going to see Shen picked up along with Gragas. Is Shen, the answer to Nocturne in this scenario?
Weird enough, Nocturne was actually considered a counter pick for Shen when both champions were played a lot, because again, you cover the map, Shen can't see anything, he doesn't know where to ultimate. The only reason, one of the reasons I can see the Shen pick being good here is that he's actually very hard to dive. He's very risky to dive up in the top lane, and he's very hard for Renekton to actually kill. Pick up some early armor, you have a lot of damage reduction, and also you will sustain yourself with your Q obviously onto the minions. And then if you dive him, he has the taunt under the turret. Very risky here, and he's normally the pick you want to have to be play safe against Renekton, but it's also hard for him to ultimate anywhere if Diamond is ganking.
Oh, we see last pick coming in here for Gambit support that they're going for now.
And look how serious this is. We've had no trolling from Edward. This is serious face Gambit right here. He's not flicking through Teemo, through Kennen, through Annie. Well, Annie's banned, so he's not going to go through that one. But Leona being picked in there, and that was just a full-on discussion, full-on serious face from Gambit. This is the Gambit I like to see. We'll see how it works out against KTB.
And this Leona pick fits absolutely perfect with the rest of the lineup. If you catch someone out with ultimate from Leona, with chains from Varus, you just pile onto them and you instantly burst them down. And what does KTB have to respond? Shen ultimate, of course, and the Karma shield. But if there's darkness, you can't see anything, Shen won't be able to join the fight, and the first member is dead before he can even do anything. So that's what I like about Gambit's combo, and also the early game potential when you have the likes of LeBlanc, who's good throughout the entire game. You have Renekton, of course. Nocturne against Kha'Zix in the early fights, I actually give it to Nocturne. I think he's very, very strong if you can get onto him with the fear. Bot lane wise though, a lot of poke on the side of KT Bullets. And of course, Genji needs to be careful. He's not being the target for ganks because of his low mobility and also the low mobility of Leona.
We see Gambit are definitely a local favorite here. And, well, why not? They did win the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice last year. Back into the semi-finals. Going to have to go through another Korean team if they want to get themselves into the grand final. Of course, waiting for them there is Fnatic, who we saw just a few moments ago taking down Cloud9 2-1 in their semi-final.
And again, we need to see how this Shen will work out though in the top lane against Renekton. We always see Renekton bully his lane, but Shen, he's one of the champions who can actually survive and farm against him. He won't have much kill potential onto Renekton, but as long as he can get all the farm he wants, or all the farm he needs, get the tanky items, he will be very hard to deal with late game. And of course, there's the split pushing potential. They just need to be careful, because if Gambit engages somewhere else with the Nocturne ultimate, Shen won't be able to join instantly.
So here we go then, our second semi-final of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship, the KT Rolster Bullets versus Gambit Gaming. Can we expect anything here at level 1? We've been seeing, I think, a little bit more today than we've been used to, but do you expect anything to happen in the early stages of this one?
Well, you can always do level 1 invades when you have Shen due to his taunt. It's very good to catching out people. You can catch multiple people with it. And of course, Karma actually has quite a lot of level 1 damage as well. She's obviously being able to use her ultimate, the Karma, to have even more damage, provide some more AoE actually if they catch multiple people with the taunt. But other than that, we will most likely see the very standard level 1, and just as I'm saying that, we actually see Kha'Zix moving down in the bot lane.
Moving straight in towards that brush. We saw Fnatic in game number 3 against Cloud9 setting up a bit of a trap in that bush. Actually, Insect did just step out of there. I don't think Darian would have spotted him. So we'll see if they can do anything about this. They actually did ping into the brush where Darian is currently standing. So ready for a little bit of a lane swap here at Gambit.
Well, we can actually see here, if they move into the bush with Darren, he obviously has to move away, but he will take some poke, and let's see what he does.
Actually going straight out towards Intech here, and has to just slice away. Lost about half of his health.
And now obviously KT Bullets know there's a lane swap going on, but for Shen, it's fine being in a lane swap. You can farm very well. You can also taunt people under the turret, especially Leona. If she would ever move towards the turret to try and hit it, Shen is there to taunt her, and it's very hard. We do see, however, Shen is actually moving towards this bot lane now, so it seems KT Bullets want to rotate around as well.
We'll see how it works out for them. Gambit have had some hit and miss late invades in their time, but this one looks like it will be successful. Nothing. KT Bullets, oh, we'll tell a lie. Ryu is sat there. There is a ward present. Is he going to go for it? Diamond doesn't want to use that smite. Oh, he used it a little bit.
Ryu could actually have stolen that one.
Close.
Yeah, the smite just a little bit too early from Diamond here, so he could have gone over to Ryu, and they actually sent him up top lane to hold off this 1v2, moving Shen down bot lane simply to try and 1v1 this Renekton.
But it's clever play because a 2v1 on a LeBlanc will try and shut him down quite heavily. We'll see how it works out for him, Leopard, in that bottom lane. Obviously, his performance is really being scrutinized for this event because he's coming into this one as that new top laner, played that once as support, and so far in this tournament has played very well.
And we'll see if we can continue that here today. If there's ever a day in the tournament to do it, this would possibly be it, getting themselves into a grand final position. As you mentioned, 2v1 in the mid lane. That's going to be Score and Mafra going up against Alexich's LeBlanc.
And Ryu is already having free CS. He really needs to be careful he's not pushing the lane up top early on, because simply means that Gambit can then freeze it and completely deny him. We actually saw Soaz do it yesterday, where he pushed it by mistake. He got frozen completely, and he didn't get any CS. And Ryu, actually, this lane will push towards Gambit. That could be an issue, but meanwhile, they're getting a lot of pressure onto the mid turret.
A lot of damage coming into that one already, and Gambit having to send Diamond over towards that mid lane to stop that pressure coming in as Alex tries to get some damage off. Actually ends up taking more than he deals.
And we need to see how KT Bullets wants to play his Insect. We actually already see him moving towards the Wolf camp. So he wants to be aggressive in the jungle of Gambit because the mid lane is there with two members to run in and help him if he should be caught out. And that's very, very strong. The Gambit dual lane up here can only help if it's towards the red buff of Gambit. There is a fight.
Inset looking to see if Diamond was going to come low health in towards that bush. Didn't happen. Diamond went the opposite way, but Insect already well on the ball. It's great to see him back in the jungle, of course. Remember, Diamond and Insect did go at it one-on-one back in the All-Stars for the ultimate jungle experience, and Diamond really will want to be getting a victory here against his counterpart.
And notice the bot lane already, a CS lead actually for Shen. It's normally always the other way. When you have a Renekton, he's getting this early lead, bullying out the other top laner. But Leopard is doing a very good job with the Shen, and Darren, he simply doesn't feel he can actually go towards him. He doesn't feel he have the damage. And also Shen has some good sustain, so he's able to simply pretty much outsfarm Darren at the moment.
You talked about how Ryu was being frozen out, but they're clearly pushing fast, hard in towards that mid turret. They want to take you down and rotate as quick as possible. Well, should Gambit not be doing the same on the top?
Gambit here, they could be doing it, yes, but if you look here towards the mid lane.
Oh, going on towards Score, he's going to get knocked quite low. The Ignite is going to be down onto him, but Gambit not got the CC to really lock them up enough. They did, of course, though, force the flash and the barrier out of Score.
Yeah, so again, back to the whole 2v1 scenario up in the top lane. Gambit will not be getting their turret down in time compared to the mid lane here unless they constantly gank the mid lane, constantly give help to Alex, try and push back the dual lane here, like we just saw with Edward roaming down. The wave have been pushing in towards Ryu now, so he's actually picking up quite a lot of CS, which is very good for him.
He's keeping that farm going. We do see Edward, of course, with that Relic Shield, will be looking to pick up some of that farm at the moment. It is ready and waiting to go. Ryu getting a bit of poke, but look at the return he puts on towards Genja. Then Barrel's already doing a fair bit of damage to that AD carry.
And the fact that Gragas is already level 5 simply means he can wave there so easily, and it's gonna be so hard for Leona to ever get in range actually off the turret. The only one hitting it could be Varus, and that's the risky point because Gragas will be getting level 6 and about 50-60% XP, and it simply means then if they go too close from Gambit's side, he can ultimate them back, and then Kha'Zix can join in, or Shen can join in, and they can just kill them. So that's why Gambit, they simply don't feel safe enough pushing down the lane.
We'll see Diamond there finally going back towards his blue buff and really realizing that camp not being cleared out. So their blue is going to be coming up very, very late into this almost if they decide to make a play over for KT Bullets' blue buff in a while.
And now the mid lane turret is already down to 50%. Caitlyn and Karma have returned to the lane. They have very good wave clear. They can fast push it up to the turret of Alex. So let's see what Diamond actually decides to do. If he wants to come in once again to defend it, the longer that Gambit can actually hold the mid turret, the more farm they can of course pick up here in the top lane, the more levels they can get. And at level 6, they might want to actually swap around and go 2v2 against Karma and Caitlyn because they'll have so much CC provided with the ganks from Diamond as well as very deadly combo.
I'm interested to see which way Insec is also going to go with that ultimate, whether he's going to evolve into the ultimate like he did yesterday at level 6, whether he's going to go wings, which we've seen a lot of players doing. Meteos has definitely been going that route. At the moment, we'll see where it goes. He's about to hit 6.
I can definitely see him involve the ultimate because the combo from KT Bullets actually doesn't provide too much burst damage. So there isn't anything where he's 100% relying on getting the early kill so he gets the reset. Instead though, with all the CC and all the damage from Gambit, I could see him go ultimate to be a bit more safe, and also in case he should be caught out, he will have a higher chance of surviving.
And here is that blue buff that I was talking about just a little bit earlier. That's going to go over to Ryu in that top lane now. And look at the CS of those mid laners that have been in the 2v1s, 29 to 25 CS. So very low CS game here from the mid laners, who of course are facing the pressure of that 2v1 scenario.
Yeah, we see Insect evolving that art, going for the ultimate, so going for that damage reduction. Well, it means he's going to be getting involved, going deep, I feel, into Gambit territory. So we see the top lane backing off here, or the bottom lane duo pairing, whatever the hell you'd like to call them. Genja and Edward have gone back, and it's going to be a BF sword and boot buy. Where are they going to head? Are they going to go? They are. They're heading towards the mid lane.
So they are going towards the mid lane. They have level 6 onto Genja. Edward is still level 5, but he will get it fairly soon. Once they hit this level 6 mark, with the likes of LeBlanc, if she's roaming to you, with Nocturne jumping in from the distance, you have so much CC to lock people down that they won't even be able to react. Because again, remember, Shin cannot ultimate in when Nocturne's ultimate is up.
Actually, Insect wandering down towards his bottom lane. Darian was just forced to back away. Actually, he took a turret hit there after being taunted up by Leopard underneath that tower. And there is Gambit coming in. They stand on a trap at exactly the same time here. Makes it harder for them to pick a target if they were to go in.
Very true. And actually, it's a bit of an issue for Gambit, the fact they are in the mid lane, because it's a very short lane. So it's very easy with the speed up from Marfa to actually get down to their own turret from KT Bullet's side, and also, of course, the net from Caitlyn. So we'll see if they actually decide to gank in there, or maybe they want to get Alex going, because he's up against this Greg who's been farming very well.
Well, Insect has been in, I think, Gambit's jungle longer than his own at the moment. We do see Edward tracking him down that river, and he's going to come around in towards Darian. Darian, no ward coverage whatsoever, has no clue of the vision here of Insect.
And it's just one taunt and he's locked down. He's already dashing in.
This could be actually quite dangerous. Here is the ultimate going to be popped from Insect. The taunt is going to come down there. It's Darian popping his ultimate. He does have the flash available. Actually doing good damage there towards Insect. He's going to flash over. Insect flashes in, as does Leopard. And the first blood goes over to the KT Bullets.
And the fact that Darian, he dashed forward aggressively, simply meant he didn't have enough mobility to get away from the gank. He did flash, but it wasn't enough because the members from KT Bullets just flashed after him and got the first blood. Very good timing.
So many times we've heard first blood Darian, but this time around not working out well. Score in this mid lane, went for that Vampiric Scepter. He's actually got a bit of a damage issue against Genja, if Genja was to land any of those piercing arrows, but you can see Mappa keeping the pressure on. Genja, you're loading up that piercing arrow. It is starting to hurt on Mappa.
Yeah, combine that with the damage and CC from Leona, you actually have quite a good burst combo onto someone like Mafra. But going back to Renekton here in the bot lane, he's not ahead in CS, he's the early game bully. It's a big issue for him, and also with first blood onto Shen, he's going to be so tanky, it's going to be impossible for Darian to kill him. And this simply means Gambit now have to deal with split pushing Shen that they can't lock down.
That up in the top lane. Actually, there was a bit of damage put in by Alexish. Actually, using his distortion there to avoid any damage thrown back at him with those barrels sliding around. There's a pink ward actually down by the dragon, and Insect just going to clear out the vision that Gambit have of that, which is going to force Diamond to come back and place himself another ward in there and get rid of that pink ward that we've just seen put down by the KT Bullets. Also knows that Insect is on that bottom side of the map.
Well, we do see KT Bullets making a move here. Karma making the way down there with Mafa. We did see Diamond always getting caught out. The ultimate was used by Insect, and Diamond have to flash away from this one. Has got his ultimate available, but he's in all sorts of trouble. The speed boost coming out from Insect is enough to just claw his way through the Gambit jungler.
And the single target burst damage from Insect here is so high. Fantastic of him. He's just waiting for Diamond to move there, pop the stealth, so Diamond has absolutely no idea what's going to happen. And then he goes on to him, and he's having so much damage early with this Elder Lizard.
Now we see that blue buff being stolen away. Again, they leave a bit of that camp behind, which means that Diamond's going to have to come back in there, reset the timer on that one. Right now, the bullets are doing Dragon, and it's down to less than half HP. Darian is going to come across on this one. There's the ultimate coming out. Chen's going to get involved, or is he? No, couldn't get in there fast enough. Genji coming around the side. Good taunt from Leopard, and there's the kill from Maffa. Can they get onto any more? Edward's the one that's at the back. Genji's pretty much left him from this one. They're going to start to push in. Piercing arrow comes around. Maffa goes low, tries to flash away from it, but the kill does come down for Edward, who will die afterwards. Slow coming in now from Genji on the backside. Barrier from Skull. Can they get any more? Great turnaround from Gambit.
Very good turnaround. Instantly as Diamond respawned, he went straight towards the Dragon. Once he got in range, the rest of Gambit could actually hold the fight going on for so long that he got in range for his ultimate and joined in. And Genji, of course, standing in the background, great position through the entire fight and just hammering away.
They got the Dragon as well, let's not forget that. So gold advantage currently in Gambit's favor, despite all the fantastic work that Insect's been doing, literally countering Diamond every single step of the way. Insect doing work for his team, but just not enough, it seems, and everybody else. We yet to see Ryu and Alex actually really getting involved in this game, because they were off at the top lane. Normally you'd see them being the ones. We are seeing Insect making his way up towards the top. He may get caught out here.
Yeah, Edward is on to him, and Diamond is nearby. He doesn't have the ultimate, so Insect can just jump out. But one thing we can notice here, when Ryu is going very aggressive.
Oh, got damage on towards Alex as well. He is going to get chained up from this one. Threw the ultimate off towards Alex. Did do the damage, but it knocked Alex back behind his own turret to safety. Meanwhile, Insect here inside of Gambit's jungle.
He is spotted out though. Diamond actually saw him put down the ward. A thing to notice is actually, meanwhile, while Alex, he was close to dying here, or at least Ryu had the advantage in the fight, Alex have been doing really well on farm. Actually got ahead early on now.
And I'm wondering what Insect's planning here. Ultimate is not available for Diamond, so he can't close that gap close enough. They know that he's still nearby. With that ultimate, he could be stealthing in, get a lot closer. He's going to take away the golems, and now they're going to push. That wave clear coming in. Ryu has not got ultimate. I don't think they're going to follow through.
Distortion is down.
Distortion is yet down, and they're going to actually, red buff is not going to get taken. Ooh, he's going to face check in towards it. Insect's going to pop that stealth. He's got the burst damage. Has he got enough to close the gap? Alex is trying to juke him around.
Wow.
Does manage to get away. Had to use the flash, so.
Yeah, trading ultimate for flash, definitely worth it for Insect. And we see the damage he's having on this single target burst whenever he has the chance. And he's just doing so well, always being at the right place at the right time.
Not a lot of farm from him, but that's a byfactor of how active he's actually been in these lanes. We are going to see that blue buff coming up once again here for the bullets. That will again be gifted over towards Ryu.
And Insect have actually been falling behind in farm compared to the other jungler in every single match at this tournament. It's just the way he's playing. He's so aggressive when it comes to ganking and counter jungling, so he doesn't farm the same amount as the other junglers.
As it is, mid lane have returned back and forth, and Genji still keeping ahead in farm, ever so slightly on score. Of course, the two top laners, or well, the bottom laners at the moment, Leopard and Darian, still very even in farm. And you talked about the fact that Leopard really shouldn't be this close to Darian at the moment in terms of farm. Darian going for that Tiamat build, going straight towards a Spirit Visage, it seems, next as well. Meanwhile, Sunfire Cape was picked up by Leopard.
I will actually say that for me, the fact that Shen is keeping up in CS is not too surprising, because Shen is very good against Renekton. It's more the fact that when you have Renekton, you need to win the early game or you get outscaled. That's the game, that's the deal. And it's an issue for Gambit that Renekton is against Shen, that the fact they could counter-pick it with Shen. And of course, KT Bullets had it planned all along when they didn't first pick Renekton.
And we should mention that Insect did come for that gank
Of
early
course,
on.
as well. He was there for the first blood, helped out Leopard even more.
Speaking of Insect, he's moving once again through that bottom side of the map, waiting patiently inside the brush to see if Darian will in fact step out there. But Darian sat right on his turret. He's not really going to be pushing out from this one. We'll see if he gets baited in there by Leopard, but I can't really see that one happening, although Darian already died a couple of times.
Yeah, and he's having no armor here, so he's not going to do. Or he's going to take a lot of damage from Insect if he actually jumps onto him. And at the same time, There's a Sunfire K1 to Shen, so he's very tanky, can take quite a lot of turret hits actually before he has to go out.
I'm intrigued by Genja again, as I've been many times on his. Oh, hello. Insect fancied a little bite and a little nibble on Darian. Darian just taking a bit of hit point damage there. Nothing too worried about it. Hello, Alex, it's going down. We're going to take a look at that one in a few moments, I feel. It looked like it's a simple case of Ryu catching him by surprise.
Yeah, Ryu didn't barely even get touched in the fight. He just outplayed Alex, got the kill. He had to use both Flash and Ignite for it, but it's definitely worth it.
Oh, Insect having to back away. Actually has to jump over the wall there. He was having to go at that pink ward. Here's that kill with Rio taking down Alex Hitchin. Good use of the ultimate there. Alex trying to dodge away from him and actually body slam into Flash from Ryu to secure it.
And Ryu simply just saw that Alex used the distortion to farm the minions, so he knew they wasn't ready, or at least Alex would have to use his ultimate distortion to get away, so he just went onto him straight away and shot him back towards the lane and towards him.
While we just saw that replay, we also saw Darian actually using Dominus in that bottom lane. He is starting to really struggle against Leopard now.
He's having big issues against this Shen. Very smart counter pick from KT Bullets, because it means also for them later on when this very tanky Shen is gonna get into the face of Genja, because he doesn't have too much mobility. He won't be able to dodge the taunts unless he's having flash ready, or unless we see a Mikhail's or a QSS onto him to cleanse it. So he will be he really needs to have perfect positioning in the team fights, or he will be the target for KT Bullets every time.
Less than 20 seconds till Dragon comes back into play, and we can see that the support and AD carry from the KT Bullets started to move down there, clear out as much as they possibly could, as Genja with those pesky piercing arrows. We saw them in action a little bit earlier on today, causing a couple of little issues there in that lane, but at the end of the day, once you've got a Bloodthirst up, you can heal it straight back off the next wave. Dragon is now live. Are we going to see a fight for it?
Both teams are actually in a very good position here. Gambit wants to clear out this pink ward. It's very important to get rid of it so they can actually put wards in this river area in front of the dragon so they can start the fights.
And of course they have that problem that they have as pesky Shen in the top lane, pushing on towards that inner turret, so they have to make their move. Of course, he could just use that standing United and come in at any time he likes. Gambit managed to get the last dragon. We'll see whether they can do it again.
And Gambit just have to engage with everything at the same time. Nocturne ultimate, followed by Chains, followed by Leona ultimate. So Shen cannot jump, but he's jumping in now.
We're going to see the jump in from the backside. Shen is going to be following through. There's a two-man sword. Dragon is going to go over to the KT Bullets. There come the ultimate. Mappa going to be the focus from this one. Alex gets that kill. Darian right in the middle of them. The fear doesn't quite send Leopard the way they would have wanted, and that is a 2-for-1.
But the Dragon went over to KT Bullets, so very good for them here. And we actually saw how they want to fight. They want to ultimate with Shen before they even go in. So he popped the ultimate onto Insect, and then he jumped over the wall. So no chance for Gambit to try and counter it with the Nocturne ultimate.
Can they counter it with a push? We'll take a look at this replay. We can see Insect, this is where it starts.
Yeah, look here. Ultimate onto Insect when he jumps over, so there's no chance of Gambit to actually start the fight beforehand. And also Insect, in the middle of everything, picks up the Dragon here. Very good play by him. But he's using so much focus on Dragon, he's actually not with the rest of the team before later on. Mappa goes down, and now here, Genja is very low, Diamond is very low, and Insect in stealth here, he's only level 10. He can't get his resets, and that's why when he kills him here, there's pretty much nothing else for him to do than just die.
I saw the flash from Leopard as well, getting him to the back of that Dragon Pit and away from the fear. Could have been the end of his time as well. And again, another blue buff comes up into play, and again, it goes over to Insect. Don't think he quite meant to do that.
I was wondering where Genja was going, and it looks like he's gone straight for the Infinity Edge along with that Bilgewater Cutlass earlier on. He's leveled that up. He must have been sitting on a lot of gold before that fight, and that is sometimes a problem. Your AD carry, if he's got that much gold to spend, how different would that fight have been?
But let's just talk about Infinity Edge or then Cutlass into Blade of the Ruined King. The issue for me with that is the fact you don't get the extra crit. You don't get the Phantom Dancer or the Static Shift to help out critting with the Infinity Edge. That's the whole idea behind it, if you want to have this auto attack build. But the reason, at least I think the reason he's going Blade of the Ruined King is because he knows his mobility is so low. He needs the speed up, he needs the extra health to be able to survive when Insect dives onto him, when Leopard dives to him.
Oh, this could be dangerous there. And actually, what it's done is pull Gambit away from that outer turret, and that will be picked off. Meanwhile, Darian is trying to reply to that one here. He's got 5 minions with him, so should be able to finish off this turret. Gambit pushing that mid lane back so that there's no more pressure coming out from the KT Bullets. And now Darian has to try and escape from Ryu and from Insect, because Insect is coming down on towards that lane. We do see Diamond coming around as well for the counter gank. There's the ultimate pop by Insect. Darian will pop his dominance. Where are they going to go? Ryu is the one that's lowest at this stage. And where is Diamond? There we go. He comes around to Insect, who just stealths it up, jumps back towards the turret, which is not there because they just got taken down. Ace in the hole comes on to Diamond, and he is just going to spell shield that one. Edward came around, no kills there.
And the ultimate from Insect made it so hard for Diamond to actually get in the fight, because he was stealthed up at first, so he couldn't join in. And then also he stealthed when Diamond was about to fear him, and simply nothing happened from it. So very good use of ultimate.
Yeah, and Ryu, of course, went into the bush. So literally there was nothing for him to ultimate into until he just came out of that stealth. It was a 2-second cooldown. Top lane, that's where we're seeing the action. They're put in trouble. He may get taken down by Alex Hitch here. Karma was coming up, but it's just too late.
Wow, and misplay by Leopard here, but Karma or Mafia, he wants to go for the kill.
He has to be careful from this one. Actually, Alex got to flash away from that one, decide that he doesn't want to stick around and wait for Mafia to have that opportunity.
Yeah, because look at the build from Mafia here. Early magic penetration boots, and also he has the 10 additional AP, so he's actually having some damage, and Karma's base damage is very good. Combine that with the Ignite, he would actually have been able to kill Alex if he had caught him.
A very tight game here. Insect creating plays for KTB, creating situations, has been involved in the majority of fights, and he's looking once again to do that, hoping that Diamond or just someone is going to walk in towards him. Edward was taken fairly low a moment ago, has gone back to buy. We'll see which way he goes. He's gone towards that face of the mountain, which ironically we saw Darian building earlier on in the last game.
And it's simply, again, you want to help out Genji on this Varus so much. Everything you can pile onto him, shields, possibly again Mikhail's later on to help him with the cleanse. Everything you can do to help him. Also the Blade Rune King he's going to have for himself will give him some additional HP and move speed to actually work with. And he might be able to survive once KT Bullets pile everything onto him.
Alex is actually moving through the jungle. They just wanted to get a ward down by the Bullets as blue buff, maybe for a possible challenge next time that one comes around, because we can see that he's in the top lane. He can't get his own blue at this stage.
And notice what Insect is doing here. He knows that Alex killed Leopard beforehand. Maybe if he's trying again, Insect is nearby for the counter gank, jumping in on Alex to kill him. So KT Bullets, they actually want Alex to go aggressive on Leopard once again.
They're waiting for him to do that. That's exactly what they wanted. They knew he just didn't have his movement. He has got to escape. He used the flash a moment ago to get away from Karma. So well played by KT. And again, Insect to get the kill.
Insect is part of it, and again we actually see Alex dying after he used his distortion to farm the waves, and then KT Bullets just punish him instantly.
Well, taking the jungle away as they go. And if you can hear the crowd here, as the Polish Virtus Pro playing in the Counter-Strike Go tournament right now. It's certainly got a lot of fans cheering for them. Meanwhile, in our game, KT Bullets have started off the Baron. Is it just to lure Gambit in for a fight here? It looks that way. They've pulled away.
And Darian, he's moving from the bot lane up here. He wants to be able to join in, but KT Bullets, wise enough back off. They don't want to risk this Baron early on here, because Gambit would be able to jump onto them, and they would have been taking quite some damage from the Baron, even though they have a very, very tanky Shen who can actually tank this Baron for quite a while.
Well, Darian is doing what Darian does. He's off down the bottom, doesn't care, got no vision whatsoever. Anyone could come near him. He's got really no escape. He's got his flash available, that's all he needs. And he's just going to hope that he doesn't get caught out once again. Insect is spotted, and that means he's going to walk away.
And we need to see if all this farm onto Diamond Prox is going to pay off, because he's almost having the same amount as Alex. So he's been using a lot of time farming, less time onto ganking, and we really need to see that pay off. But Dragon is up and KT Bullets are there.
Let's see if they can hold on to this one. Good zone in there from Mafia. Dragon already going low. There is a piercing arrow coming through. KT Bullets picking up. They're still sat inside that Dragon pit, but they've got 3 men inside it. They can just jump straight over the wall.
Yeah, look how mobile KT Bullets are. No risk of dying afterwards, because they can simply jump the wall there. Very good timing on the Dragon, and Gambit slightly out of position.
Speaking of gold advantages, Alex Hitch is the second lowest gold earner on his team right now. That's not good for your mid laner. He's below even his 2 junglers.
And it's not looking good for him here, because Insect is here as well.
Oh, gonna get caught in from this one. It's not easy to get away from that. He uses everything to try and escape. Insect gets himself another kill. This is now a 4-2-1 Kha'Zix with that Hex Drinker in there as well. This is really dangerous for Gambit.
But again, with all the CC Gambit is having, if they can actually detect Kha'Zix in his stealth, in the team fights, they will be able to lock him down, possibly even kill him, because there's not too much to actually save him, unless you have the Shin ultimate up and of course the shield from Karma. But the Shin ultimate should be used anyway when the fight actually starts and not when Insect is dropping low.
Genja continues holding that piercing arrow, see if he's going to create something. Of course, he was the man that turned this game around against WE. WE's own aggression being used against them. But KT Bullets, they're not quite so naive to just go headlong rushing into those kills. They're keeping vision everywhere across the map when they go aggressive.
And it seems actually Genji decides to get some crit together with the Infinity Edge, so he's going to have more auto attack damage. The Cutlass, again, it is a slow, so it's going to help him try and kite around, and he might just keep it there for now.
He's sure it's not just double click with his eyes closed again as he goes.
Roll that mouse around.
See what we get today. But that's what you got to admire from Genja as well. He builds, I think, totally different to everyone else.
Yeah, I don't think
inaccurate
anyone
statement.
can get in the brain of Genji. Nobody has any idea what he's actually thinking when he's building these kind of weird item choices.
Well, Alex here is looking for a bit of a go on towards Maffa, and well, it really was just a bit in the end. Maffa just walking away from that one. Meanwhile, Diamond is coming down towards his bottom lane. They should be able to get in towards that brush. Well, Diamond doesn't even need to, of course, with his ultimate in there. But can they pair this one up? And are they strong enough to take out Score and Maffa?
And look who's there once again. Insect is coming down with the bot lane, waiting for something to happen so he can join in on the fight. He has so much damage at the moment, he actually shows himself, so they just want to push up the lane.
And back to Genja's build, he's got 2 half items almost there. If you look at Score, Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, and Last Whisper are already done, throwing out the ace in the hole there. And actually, Edward is starting to come forward. They're going to try and get on towards Score. That's all the lockup that they've got. The fear comes in as well. Sun United comes down. Well, they manage to pop in first. There is Insect. Can he get himself the reset? There's the one. Can he now jump away from it? Actually going to stealth up and jump away the other side. Really well played there by Insect.
But we see what the Gambit coming to do, and now to top lane.
Going in on towards Darian from this one. Flash has been burnt left and right. Good damage on towards Darian. They force him off the turret.
So they force him away. They can take this turret now. Very good move by KT Bolts. And looking down on the fight, we saw what the Gambit combo can do here. Once they engage, pop the Nocturne ultimate. Shen had to ultimate so late that it wasn't enough to actually save Score, and he could join in for the fight. It did mean, however, though, he could just stay top lane and get a turret. And the fact that KT Bullets traded 1-for-1 actually means they win out on this trade.
Well, yes, they do, actually. There's no doubt about it. They got the fact they got the top turret. It means it's a big win. I was thinking more along the lines of all the assists that Gambit got, but nevertheless, it was another kill. And I wonder, in Gambit's heads, who is the main shot caller at this stage? Because Alexic is not doing well, which in itself causes problems when you're making calls. They're clearly trying to get him fed. They're clearly trying to get LeBlanc going, but it's not working. Insect is countering them every step of the way.
Yeah, and again, KT Bolts have been doing such a good job punishing Alex for being up top lane in his long lane where they could actually chase him down. Yes, LeBlanc, she can jump a few times, but then you will be able to catch up with the likes of Kha'Zix and obviously Shen, and that's what they've been doing, and that's been the issue for Gambit with having Alex in the top lane. He's not been able to roam either because he wasn't mid. At least he was in the start, but then he had to swap up at level 6.
There is Rio coming out towards this mid lane. Spots actually Edward coming in there as well, so not going to be having a fight from that one. Gambit actually need to get around and get some vision control back on the Baron. There is that ward going down the backside from Edward. And that pink ward, they should be able to clear out here shortly as well.
And notice the Molten Mortis completed onto Kha'Zix, so he's gonna be able to survive the burst from Alex. And at the same time, if he should drop low, when he pops his ultimate and then he comes out from stealth and hits the target, he's gonna have so much extra attack damage if he's been dropping low beforehand.
Gambit trying to create something there. They knew that Insect is down in that bottom lane. They're realizing finally he's not going to be there to counter us, but instead they need to start worrying about Insect's pushing ability because he's going to get some free time on towards that tower. Instead, he's heading across. Darian is closing in towards him.
And look at this 1-3-1 KT Bolts are doing. They have Shen up in the top lane. Of course, they move the very strong Insect into the bot lane. And then you keep Gragas mid lane to just wave clear. Caitlyn can even join into the mid lane to wave clear even more and push up the waves to Gambit's side of the map all the time. And whenever someone from Gambit is moving to stop the split push, they can just push a different lane, get the turret, or dive onto Gambit.
Insect continues on that push as well. Looking down Alex's items here, we've seen LeBlanc earlier on today. Expeke, of course, who had a fantastic game earlier on, getting that DFG, getting things rolling on that front. Bit of a different path this time through from Alex. What do you make of that?
Well, Alex, having been able to get the lead or the early goal he wanted to have this DFG to snowball even more, so the challenge is the more safe route. It's going to give him some good damage still, together with the Void Staff. So I actually like the fact he went for it, also because he was laning against Gragas later on and he needed the early magic resist.
Piercing arrow, not enough damage there. So they're not going to pick that one up. It's going to be another Dragon for KTB. And the KT roster bullets, they seem to have the edge on Gambit so far in this game. They're now 5,000 gold up, and they really are not making mistakes, which Gambit are going to require, I feel, to claw their way back into this.
And it's so hard to come back when you are against a team who likes to split push, like we're seeing here, and when you're against the Kazakhs being this strong at the moment. Who's going to 1v1 him? Darren can give it a try, but the rest of KT Bullets can quickly rotate there because Gragas is very mobile, Karma is very mobile, speeding up the rest of the team, moving towards the fight they have in whatever lane, and also, of course, the Shen ultimate, as long as Nocturne haven't popped this, simply means that KT Bullets can quickly rotate on the map, and it's so hard for Gambit to deal with. What they need to do is simply just start a fight. Catch out a few members or one member from KT Bullets with Nocturne, with Leona, and with, of course, LeBlanc, and just burst them down instantly before the rest of KT Bullets can actually react.
We did see that a Quicksilver Sash was picked up there by Score just to get him out of danger if they do decide to dive onto him. On the other side of it, we did see actually the Blade of the Ruin King was finished first up by Genja.
So he did decide to complete it here. So again, health boost in team fights. He's going to steal 30% movement speed as well in the team fight, so it's going to help him try and survive at least.
We're waiting for KT Bullets to push that lane out. They're looking to try and make a play on Insect, it seems, in his top lane. Diamond has been caught out in that mid lane, though, so he is going to back away. He's taking a little bit of damage from Ryu Maffa as well, getting that damage on towards him.
But notice how Gambit can never move multiple members anywhere because all the lanes are being pushed up, so they will just lose a turret in the mid lane, turret in the bot lane. That's why they can't go up and gank Insect. He's been just farming away. And now KT Bullets have actually started the Baron. I don't think it's the plan, though.
I don't think it was the plan. Score's doing it nonetheless. It's continuing to get a couple of shots, trying to see if Gambit want to take the bait, but they are sticking around, and Insect is ready and waiting to pounce.
He's actually going very aggressive.
Yeah, and this could be dangerous for him, actually. We haven't seen the ace in the hole come through. They knocked Darian away from the rest of the team. He'd already popped that Dominus, though, and in the end, I don't think either team really wanted that fight. Insect jumped in, thinking he might be able to single someone out, and actually there were three of them waiting when he did.
I think actually they could have set something up with Shen. We saw Leopard, he was moving away from Alex in the lane, so he had the chance to actually ultimate in. Of course, Alex will be able to silence him if he sees Shen casting the ultimate and can stop him from joining in. So maybe that was why Insect decided to back out of the fight afterwards.
Well, as it stands, we're going to see Alex Itch. He knows he's on his own, but I'm not too sure he knows he can take him anymore. I'm not even sure whether he can. Leopard is so strong. He's just going to keep on split pushing that lane. Alex, though, is getting farm every time he's not involved, every time he's away, every time he doesn't die. More importantly, he is continuing to get that farm. He's going to get the blue buff again. He needs to start getting kills.
Well, Gambit is doing what they can at the moment. They just want to pick up as much farm, trying to get items onto their carries, trying to get back in the game without actually having to team fight straight up, because KT Bulls are so strong at the moment with this combo. Every time someone from Gambit drops low, there is the risk of Kazakhs coming in with the involved Q now at level 16, so he's having so much burst damage to you, and they have to respect that.
Speaking of Kazakhs, he was stood right on top of a ward there as Ryu tries to fill things up, but actually he's going to go straight over the other side. Ace in the hole, he's going to go through. Score gets that kill. Insect and Leopard are all over them here on the backside. Diamond's down to half HP. Genja can't do anything. Now they go on towards Diamond. There's the taunt. The rest of the team going to join in. This is an absolute massacre.
Nowhere to run for them. We see Alex Itch, he comes in, he gets himself one kill. May get a second one here. Insect making a bit of a mistake. He does manage to get that kill away, and that will stop KT Bullets. That was a little bit too deep, I feel. They're going to come around, they're going to just back off. They could possibly go back. They're passing so many turrets on the way. They've gone that deep in towards Gambit's territory. Don't think they can get an objective off it, though, because they went a little too ham.
But there was absolutely nothing Genja could do to survive here. Once Kazakhs and Shen goes towards him, he used the flash, it wasn't enough. He used the barrier, it wasn't enough. The Blade of the Rune King was popped, and still they can just stick to him because of the stealth on Kazakhs, and of course because Shen is so tanky. There's nothing for Gambit to do to actually stop them going in here, unless Gambit are doing the engage. And that's why we see KT Bullets starting the fight, Once again, Shen ultimate beforehand, so there's no chance of Nocturne's ultimate to block it, and he's in there to start the fight pretty much.
Well, they had the vision. They knew exactly where they were, and they started the fight diving in. We thought maybe Rhea was going to be a little bit crazy diving on towards Edward, but they knew exactly what they were doing. They baited and outsmarted Gambit in that fight, no doubt about it. And Gambit really are struggling to try and counter every single maneuver that KT Bullets do.
We've seen more items coming in. A thorn mail now for Shen if he wasn't already hard enough to deal with. Now you've got to pretty much just ignore him and let him do his thing as he chases you down constantly. Over the other side. All right, now I can safely say now as Genji is going to get pushed out. Insect going to take a lot of damage. Diamond is the one right on top of him. Look at score from the backside. They do look him up with a solar flare, but surely they don't want to fight this one. The damage from the Piltover Peacemaker and the barrel coming in. My point about Genji and closing his eyes while fighting. He's got a stinger now.
It still stands. It still stands. He's got a stinger. I'm not too sure which way he's going with this one. Diamond's hanging by. He wants to try and go for that blind steal. There is a ward back in there. Darian's trying to keep it relevant. He can ultimate in towards there, but I think KT Bullets are not going to fall for this one. Instead, they're just going to jump straight on Diamond. They get themselves the kill. They get themselves the Baron.
And KT Bullets are doing everything correct. They forced Gambit to stay around his Baron area and just engage on him. Insect, he actually jumped to Genji and just chunked him down to 20% instantly. And this stinger, I have to question why Genji doesn't go for something like a Guardian Angel simply to try and stay alive, because he is the focus for KT Bullets every single time. I'm not saying it's going to win Gambit the fight, but it's going to do more than a stinger at this point.
Baron up, KT rolls the Bullets, pushing through in towards this mid lane. The pressure is on. They're keeping the split push going. Is exactly what they need. They're going to get themselves the inner turret down that bottom lane, and they may keep on pushing and get this inhibitor turret. We are waiting for Diamond to respawn to go in that defensive mode, but they're going to jump on. They're not going to give it time. Genji's the focus. They've got so deep again, and that Shen ultimate just working wonders, just tanking out that turret. Gambit in some trouble. Alex is going to get jumped on. Ace in the hole will land. It's going to go through. It's not going to get the kill. Yes, it does. He finally gets him down. Diamond coming through. He's so tanky, but he's got little to no damage. The rest of KT Bullets just jump straight on him. Insect pounces. This will not feel good for Diamond to be taken down by his counterpart, and the red buff is what finishes it off. KT Bullets, they can just run through the base.
And Insect have been the MVP of this game. We see also in this team fight how strong he is, jumping into the face of Gambit with Leopard, and he just stays in there.
And I'm not sure how Gambit were ever going to be able to think about defending with the poke that they have there with the KT Bullets, and those Nexus turrets just ripped to pieces. KT Bullets pick up game number 1 here in our semi-final. Gambit now in a tough position. If they want to make it an all-European final, they got to win 2 in a row.
And a very good champion select for KT Bullets with the Shen counterpick towards Renekton, and also punishing Alex for rotating up to the top lane. Every single time they had the chance, they killed him up there and kept him shut down, so he couldn't really do anything early game for Gambit.
Fantastic performance, KT Bullets. You know, talking about picks and bans, they may well have to start thinking seriously about a Kha'Zix ban or picking it away from them. Of course, Gambit will be the blue team going into the next game, and Insect once again has performed so well on that Kha'Zix pick. 7-3-7.
Very important, and not just even the scoreline, but the impact that he's had throughout that entire game. So dangerous. The unseen threat almost most of the times when he just stealths in there, and all of a sudden Alex finds himself dying time after time. 5-5-0 Alex ended in the end. Everyone else on the team really struggled to get going there. Gambit certainly need to be having a second thought about game 2.
And again, going back to the combos very quickly, the combo from Gambit, I actually really liked it. If they got ahead early on, there's snowball potential with this combo. They could constantly find picks, constantly pick up the right targets with this very heavy burst CC engage combo. But simply due to the fact the early game was so even, and then KT Bullets, once you came into the mid game, simply started outmaneuvering and outplaying Gambit on the map. It meant that KT Bullets pulled ahead, and once they forced Gambit to stay around this Baron area, KT Bullets could just engage the fights whenever they wanted to, and that's why, again, they were so dominant in the team fights.
It's going to be a tough comeback here for Gambit. We'll see a little bit later on if they can manage to turn this best-of-3 series around. But for now, we're going to head to the analysis desk, where a quick shot is waiting with Froggen and Crepo.
Guys, and first game of the series, KTB pick up the win. Let's be honest, they seem to be in control for most of the game. I think Insec, he set the tone. He ganks often. He seemed to be present at every stage there was an objective to challenge for. And Gambit didn't really have an answer to that Kha'Zix. Every time Insec jumped in, you tended to feel like most of the majority of the time, it worked out better for KTB.
The overall game plan from KTB was just really, really good. They wanted to have two versus one mid, obviously. Versus LeBlanc, they can punish it really hard with the Mantra Qs from Karma and with the Caitlyn. It's two of the best bottom lanes to actually send mid because of the heavy poke they have and because it's such a safe 2 versus 1 mid. They can barely ever die to a mid and the jungle.
Yeah, I really like what they did on terms of like where they put the pressure on which lanes. The Shen pick apparently worked really well against Renekton. I personally did not know that myself. I read a couple of tweets from the young Monday Crystal. He's done casting and he was watching this game and he pointed out that they've picked that earlier as well in Korea. Shen against Renekton as a counter pick. What's left on the map right then, as Fogan called out, this double poke lane 2v1 against LeBlanc, surprisingly effective. Usually that draws a jungle in and Nocturne is really not that efficient when he has to come hold that mid wave. Can't really counter engage, doesn't have any form of CC except the fear, which is really obvious. So that played into KDB's hand again. And then on top lane they had the Gragas and LeBlanc going head to head after being lane swap for a while. And that kind of seemed to play into Gragas' favor. Usually, I'm not entirely sure in the matchup, maybe Froggen knows more about this, but they were higher on XP than they were on gold. You know, usually when they hit level 11, both of them have a lot of gold, and LeBlanc could technically combo the Gragas down to 0 HP, but that wasn't happening this time. Ryu had the upper hand, and I wonder why.
I would like to point out that EU actually played Shen into Renekton a few weeks ago, but obviously KTB showed us how to actually play it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the Gragas versus LeBlanc matchup is like, you poke with the barrels, you don't want to get too close to the LeBlanc because she will blow you up. So you poke with the barrels, try to stay in range so you can body slam if she actually goes on you, but Wing forward, hitting the E and the Q onto you. So.
Now, look, I want to just quickly throw something out there. We've seen KTB playing 3 separate games, performing pretty well in all 3 of them. This matchup, they pulled out that Karma and the Shen. It's the first time we've seen it at the Intellectual Masters World Championship. They're showing diversity in their play as well. In comparison to what we've seen from their games earlier in the group stages where they took out Millennium and Invictus Gaming, what's your take on their overall quote-unquote power level?
I just think they're a really smart team. They played a new comp and they played it well. Looking at the champion select at the start, I wasn't so sure. I'm not a fan of Karma, I support myself, so I'll write it off very easily. But what Insec did this game, where he was at which times, and he picked people off. And even if he didn't kill them, he just chunked them and he put pressure. Everywhere he was making those picks and his team was playing around that so well. They managed to neutralize LeBlanc, 2v1ing her, and then shoving her up to the side of the map because they had to send LeBlanc against Shen. Renekton couldn't answer that anymore. Insec was all around. Just KDB, so strong, played the map very well, and just played around Gambit's counter.
But on the same token, you know, we looked at their new picks. We see Nocturne in the jungle for Diamond Prox. That was a pick I personally wasn't completely sold on. I prefer Diamond on slightly more playmaking type junglers. We've seen a little bit more Nocturne a little more frequently in sort of the EU LCS, a couple more teams picking him up. What was your take on that pick in particular?
So KTB countered that pick really well by having 2 people mid. It allows Insec to always invade the jungle, and then the Karma can always back the Kha'Zix up. And because of that, Diamond didn't get the farm that was needed, and he didn't get to level 6 as fast as he wanted to. And also, another important thing is, they had Gragas on the top lane, on blue side, which means he will get the blue buffs, while LeBlanc will not. And this actually led to an early experience lead to the Gragas. So.
Yeah, Gragas got ahead in that top lane. As a good point as well. Nocturne, if he can farm to level 6 and start getting his gank off, sure, that's why he picked him. He wants this long-range initiation so he can bypass all that movement speed coming out of that composition from the bullets, but they just wouldn't have it. That 2v1 in mid was pretty crucial to this game. We've pointed out now on 2 separate occasions. It shut down the LeBlanc, it shut down the Nocturne, allowed for better matchups in the lanes, and KDB just reacted really well. I'm not sure what's going to happen in the next game, but KDB shows diversity, and they show really good play, mechanical play, and they're on top of their game.
I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about it, because I'm going to ask you a question now. After seeing now Gambit's 3 games today, they have shown a fairly weak laning phase in all 3 of their games. This particular matchup, once again, having to deal with the lane swap shenanigans and maybe coming off worse for wear as far as the matchups were concerned in lane, and then having Insec on Kha'Zix just ruining their day jumping in at multiple times. He got a couple of kills onto Darren early on. Then the mid game, he found kills onto Alex Sidge. What did Gambit have to do going into this game, going into potentially the final game of their World Championship?
Mix up the pick and bans. Because KTB was able to do this is because they have done the research. They banned the Aatrox. Darren will insta-lock the Renekton. It's the only last, it's the last aggressive top laner, super lane bully to all the other top laners that's left. They obviously have a counter for it. They picked Shen into it. It worked extremely well. They also second picked LeBlanc. They had the counter with picking Karma and picking Caitlyn and 2 versus 1 in mid.
At the same time, though, the Gambit needs to learn. I believe the Kha'Zix was the first pick here, which indicates how high of priority they put in. Again, recent comfort, maybe just ban that out. Make him switch up the compositions. Yeah, sure, KDB has been adapting really well, but at least make him adapt. Just get that Kha'Zix out of the way, because Insect was doing a lot of work, opening up the Avenue Forest team to come in and finish the game really well. Gambit still reacting really well, though. They've been making good reactions to the plays. It was really close. It amounts to like a 5,000 gold lead into the very late game, but before that, Gambit was trying to catch them, had the right answers in picks. They had a lot of hard catch, which is good against this mobility comp that wants to poke a little bit as well. So they had the right tools, just didn't use them as well as KDB did theirs.
So something that we haven't necessarily touched on a great deal here on the desk, at least, is in this particular matchup, you have Insec going up against Diamondprox, two of the most storied junglers in competitive League of Legends. In this previous game, we've seen that Lee Sin was banned by Gambit towards KTB. Elise went unpicked, was not picked nor banned. And in favor of picking Elise, Diamond went for that Nocturne, as we've talked about. Do you feel that Lee Sin is still ban-worthy against Insec? Do you think that maybe that might be a ban to change? I mean, we've been seeing Insec running a fair amount of Vi over in OGM Masters, and you know, he still likes those engaged types of champions, but I mean, I don't know, do you think it's worthy?
Gambit's thought process behind this is, okay, so Insec hasn't been doing too well in the jungle. We have seen him die a lot because he's playing super aggressive. Banning Lee Sin away from him basically says, okay, you can play aggressive and then escape because you have awesome mechanics and stuff like that. So, and they take his comfort jungler as well. And they probably hope to get against something more, less
impactful.
Less impactful.
Kha'Zix was a good answer to that, though. Either they ban both, or they pick a stronger jungler, or a combination of where, say, a mid laner doesn't get 2v1 as easily. That means Diamondprox doesn't get invaded that well, because Gambit doesn't like to be invaded. As much as Diamondprox used to be the guy that always invaded, if you would, back in the day, place a ward into Gambit's jungle, they would immediately pink ward out. Diamondprox wants his jungle under control, so he can exert power where he wants. If he gets hit in his jungle, you're hitting his home turf. And maybe getting a stronger mid and having a stronger dual jungler, so then the Kha'Zix can't really pick out the Nocturne anymore, might be the answer. If not, ban out Kha'Zix.
Well, we are about to go to an ad break. Just before we do, though, I want to ask you guys, now Gambit being on the blue side for this particular round, going up against KTB, does Gambit have what it takes to force a deciding match? Let's start with Froggen.
I think you can never count Gambit out. They can always win against any team, but KTB looks strong in this past game.
As much as I would like the Koreans to learn the word domoy, I don't think it's going to happen. I think KTB is going to take it.
Well, we will have to wait and see. We are once again going to a very short ad break, and when we return, Game 2 on the second semi-final, where we will find out whether or not KTB knocks out Gambit. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.